Okay, good day folks, welcome back to the channel. In the background we got a bit of Dire Straits playing, nice and chilled, nice cool afternoon, early evening. Okay, so what we're going to do in this vid, we're going to carry on with our tree. Okay, I'm going to get you down here now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a layer of leaves on, and cheers, the coffee's on the boil. Man, always good to have a cup of Java going. Okay, right, let's push on. So let me get you down here quickly and you can have a look. Right, what we've done here, guys, you can see now how it's all dried out nicely, etc, etc. It's really come out a nice color. There's a few big chunks, etc, but we're not too concerned about that. Even got a bit of a rock in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll take our coarser sieve, and we're just going to put a little bit in there. So and then we're just going to get a little bit, we're going to sieve a little bit out. So we want to get a thin layer on first, because this is not a very big, you see, we can get the thicker stuff out there. So we'll put that thicker stuff one side, and we'll just sieve a little bit out like this. Okay, so we can get some of the finer stuff out like that, and you can see it'll be a much smaller leaf, as it were, and we'll just keep going like that. And then once we've got this first layer on, we will then do another layer that's got a much different color leaf, maybe a bit brighter. We'll see how we go, but let's get this first layer on first, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so let's just put this one side, and now we've sifted through. We've got let's take that out the way. Okay, now we've got some finer leaves going here, as you can see now. That's nice and fine. And what we're going to do is we've got a little bit of a messy job coming up now, because bearing in mind we've got to get some glue onto this so the leaves can stick onto our structure, onto our armature, as it were. Right, so what we do is you got to get yourself a spray bottle, folks. Just a cheap little spray bottle. Okay, this one, I'm not going to use this one. I found another one. What you're actually looking for is almost like an atomizer. So, you know, these ladies, these little perfume atomizer. You get one of those. I had one, unfortunately it broke. I've got to find another one. You want that fine spray when you do this. You actually don't want droplets. And also, I used to put wood glue mixed with water through my airbrush, but bearing in mind that needle, it's such a small, and although I did clean it, I battled once, and at one stage the glue actually settled in there a bit, and it created I got it right eventually, but I'll rather not put any glue through my airbrush as such. So get yourself a spray bottle. This one you can set. This is just a normal garden and trigger spray bottle. Or try and get one of those atomizers if you can. Now what I've done is, my wife was cleaning out her hobby room, her sewing room, and she found this little boy with a bit of a fan or something on it, but it's got a spray. The idea of this thing is you press the button here, and then you spray water on yourself. But anyway, what I found out, this actually sends out a nice fine spray. So I'm going to use this one tonight on this vid, and we'll see how it works out. So this is a bit of a trial run, but it does give a nice fine spray. You want that fine spray to come through, almost like a mist. So the atomizer is the one that you're actually looking for. So now, what I've done is I've taken some wood glue. If we can come down here again. I've taken some wood glue, and I've thinned some wood glue out. So I've mixed that up. This is just normal, good old-fashioned wood glue, as I've shown you before. Okay, so a bottle like that will last you a lifetime. You don't have to get all fancy. And once again, folks, you can buy. There is a what they call a spray glue. I actually did have a look at it at one stage, and it's actually quite expensive as well. Bearing in mind this channel of ours is a budget channel. Okay, so I've mixed this up. So what we're going to do is let's just put that there. We're now going to fill our. Let's get up here quickly. Let's have a look. We're now going to fill our bottle. Let's see how this goes, and we're going to pour that in there. So we got our wood glue mixture. Okay, This thing works like that. We'll put that on top there. So I'm using this because it's got such a lovely fine spray. So let's see how this works, folks. Okay, so there's our wood glue. What I'm going to do is let's test it first and see. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. Look how fine that is. Wow, that is quite fantastic. Okay, so now, right, let's get going. Let's just check this out. That coffee is good, man. This is quite exciting. Okay, so now let's just get you down here as well. I hope you can see. I've got you in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now. So now what we're going to do is, we don't want to wet this tree too much, folks, because otherwise your trunk, as it were, is going to get wet, and then it's going to bend over and break. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spray it a little bit. We'll spray it like that, and we'll just turn it around, get it as wet as possible. Okay, we'll get it like that. Now, bearing in mind, you're not going to make a complete coverage, and it's going to be messy, but you can wipe this up afterwards. I've got a backing just behind the camera, so it's not going to be spraying on there too much. So we're trying to get that as wet as possible, but without it's a fine line. Okay, so let's see, we've got that. Let's put that down there. Right, now what we do is, this is where the messy part comes. Now we sprinkle our leaves on, folks. Now, all as simple as that. Look at that. We just sprinkle the leaves on, and just hold it over, so you keep as little as wastage as possible. Okay, so now this is the process, and we start sprinkling our leaves on just gently like that, and we start making coverage, and get where the glue is. You can see where it is. So we start sprinkling, and you try and cover as much as you can in that first go. Okay, once again, folks, remember, this has got to dry. Okay, so we're going to do this now, and then what I'm going to do is, after this, I'm going to give it I'm just going to let it stand just for a couple of seconds, and we'll chat about something else. And notice now, you're going to say, oh, but the trunk is also getting covered. That's fine, because what we're going to do with the trunk at a later stage, as soon as we start finishing up on this, we will take that trunk, and we will actually apply a little bit of bark to it, as it were. Okay, now folks, look at that. That's not too bad at all. Let's get some light on here, and let's have a look. That's not too bad at all. That's come out not too bad. Okay, we're going to fine tune that, and notice we've got a little bit of grass on the or leaves on the trunk, but we're not too concerned about that. Okay, folks, now if you have a look here, let's just get some light onto the effort there, if you can see. Okay, now if you look in between here, you'll see there's let's just get a point here. You'll see there's a bit of sticking out there. What we're going to do is we're going to trim those off, and we're going to let this dry. We're going to trim that off, and we'll trim that off and trim that off. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to get a little bit of parsley, and we're going to just sprinkle one or two of the rough, the sort of the bigger the bigger sections on, or the bigger leaves, as it were, and just to make it look a little bit more realistic. But now we've got the groundwork basically put on. Now if you see where the trunk is here, you can see there. Now what we'll do is we'll leave that on there, but we will color that. Not to worry about that. We're going to color separately, and we'll get in there and color that separately as well, and to make that look like a trunk. Okay, so we're slowly getting there. And that's that's how we start, and that's how we get the basic of the leaves on. Okay, if we just stand by 1 second. Okay, just get you back up here. And remember, this is all done with stuff that you've got around the house, etc., etc., and you're not outlaying big amounts of money. Okay, let's just wipe up a bit of the glue here just before that sets. 1 second, let's just do that quickly. Okay, can be a bit messy, but that's fine. Don't worry about that too much. As long as you just... That's it. Okay, right. Now, we're going to get a bit of parsley. Just stand by a second. Okay, now we've got our parsley. Let's just make a little bit of space here. I'm going to show you now. Okay, let's just have a look here. Okay, let's just get you down here again. Get some coffee in. Oh, this is exciting. Now the trees come out not too bad. Okay, so now we've got our little bit of parsley like this, and what we can do is we can scrunch it up, and you can see the parsley is a little bit of a different color. Okay, so now that's drying there. While that's one side drying a little bit, we're going to put, just make sure we just keep shaking our glue so it doesn't settle. And we're going to get our a bigger tea strain, finer tea strainer. So what we're going to do is we'll take a little bit of parsley, and we'll, you see there, and we'll get a few of those leaves through, like that, and we'll knock that through. Okay, now just to get a bit of texture on there, you'll see, okay, like that. Okay, and then we'll just mix a little bit in there, like that. There we go, folks. Okay, now what we're going to do is, let's put that one side. We'll take that like that. Let's just put this one side here. If you folks can still see what's going on there, just get a bit of light onto the there. Okay, now we're going to spray a little bit more. We're just going to, let's just get the spray going. Okay, we don't want to wet it too much. Just get it the odd places. Okay, like that. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle some of the, like that. We'll sprinkle that on like that. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then you can experiment with this and see how you go along, and you can just keep going and experiment as you go along and see which works for you and how. But that gives you the basic idea of how the tree, of how you can get the tree. Now what we've got to do, we've got to let that dry. Okay, that has to dry. So if you have a look, if you'll see, once it dries, it will start forming more of a leaf as such. You've got the basics on there now, and now you can see exactly how that's coming about, and the color. Bearing in mind it's wet, the color will come out as soon as it starts drying. Okay, so folks, remember, just it's a trial. You've just got to fiddle with it until it looks right, until you get it right. But that's the process to follow. And bearing in mind, you can go either finer, or as far as your leaves are concerned, you can make it finer or coarser, however you want to do it. That's entirely up to you. And when it comes to the parsley, if you want to make a tree that's bigger, or whatever the case may be, you just use the bigger leaves, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so the next step in this whole process, what we'll do next now, okay, we will then get on to, once it's dry, we'll get onto the listen to me, the trunk, and we'll start making it look like proper, like a tree trunk, etc., 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 or however you want to tone that down. But that we'll do once the leaves and the structure's dry, because you don't want to fiddle too much with it now, because it's quite wet, and you want that to dry as it is. So we're going to leave that as it stands now, and then hopefully in the next day or two we can follow up with that, and we can see how that goes. But I hope you can see exactly how that process goes, and how we actually get the leaves on there, as far as the actual, call it the sprinkling, as it were. Right, don't worry too much about the pieces that are sticking out. Like I said to you earlier on, that we'll trim off once that's dry, and we'll make sure that it's that it looks all nice and neat and dandy. Okay, right folks, that's where we are so far as the tree is concerned. We're going to be coming, I'll be starting up with the mosses and how we get the grasses to look. That'll be the next thing. As soon as we've done the tree, we'll start how we do the grasses, and I'll actually do a little bit of groundwork, and we can see how we use the moss. I'm going to put a little video on how to actually, there's a little technique or a little thing that I've learnt. I used to try and get the moss off quite fine. I did take some off the other night. I just want to show you quickly while we're here. Let's put our tree one side, so that must dry in the process. If you look down here while we're on the video, if you look, here's some moss that I actually dug off, that I actually got off the other night. If you can look carefully, I don't know if you can see on there, you can see how the grass stands up like that. Now, don't worry about this. This is not going to it won't stay green. Okay, that's fine, because you can color that green with poster paint again. So what is actually quite nice, these pieces that came off, there's quite a big piece, and we can keep it like that. And the secret with this is when you scrape it off or pick it up, is to try and keep as much sand as you can on it, so then you keep it whole, etc. And then it's just, you put it together in a little container and it dries, and eventually the sand falls off, and you get left with the moss that actually stands up, and it looks like short grass, and it actually works very, 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 very well. Okay, right, folks, so that's the vid for the trees and the grasses and the foliage. This one, the next one that's going up. So hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you feel it's worth sharing, well, then share it, if you feel it's worth sharing. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And once again, thank you for watching. Catch you soon. Cheers.